As the Pledge of Allegiance started during Monday night's Durham City Council meeting, you can see 10-year-old Liam Holmes in the back drop down.
What I did was took a knee against racial discrimination, which is basically what people are mean to other people of different colors.
At a very young age, you can be a moral person and stand up for what you believe.
So a 10-year-old gets it, but most adults can't. In a regular society that wasn't hell-bent on force-feeding patriotism down the throats of its citizens, this act of bravery would be celebrated, or at the very least, understood. A young man conscious about issues involving race in our society and wanting to take a stand.
Basically, what people are mean to other people of different colors.
Isn't that what this country prides itself on being, seeing as it's the freest country in the world? I mean, isn't that what patriotism is all about? When you love something and you want to make it better. Like James Baldwin said, I love America more than any other country in this world, and exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. Or is it just about waving a flag, yelling America, and burning your Nikes?
Our country! Proud American! Made in USA, bitch!
While I and many others applauded for his bravery and his compassion, others sought to vilify him and condemn his parents for brainwashing him. So let me get this straight, okay? We have a bunch of rowdy kids who jump around in front of an elder's face, some making fun of him, all while donning MAGA hats. Well, they're brave, you know, they're just exercising their freedom of speech. But a 10-year-old peacefully taking a knee, oh, that's disrespectful, okay. This kid has more compassion and understanding in his heart than full-grown adults who claim to be educated on the issues he's addressing. When asked about how he'd handle critics,
Some people might say, you know, they don't support what he did.
Well, those people just don't listen.
all hail the young woke king. This kid gets it, listening. How hard is that, right? Listening. Listening is what it's always been about. When Kaepernick first took a knee, it was to shed light on the issue of police brutality and racial injustice. But instead of listening to why, well, you know what happened.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired.
Staunch critics with their Nike Monarchs in a bunch attacked him and did everything in their power to deflect from the why. They tried to distort the message, making it about the military or the vets. And here's the worst part. They did that successfully, because far too many Americans, despite history being the perfect reference as to why this needs to happen, would rather take the easy road of pretending there is no issue, subscribing to this false narrative of patriotism, meaning blind allegiance without ever posing any questions to those in power. Be known to the fact that that actually sounds a lot more like indoctrination than what those critics claim is happening to this kid. I mean, bear with me, I may be crazy, but to me, thinking for yourself and wanting to help others, that sounds a lot more like freedom than, say, forced allegiance and never asking any questions of those in power. The latter actually sounds a lot more like North Korea than a free country. Actions did not impress the scout leader, though. He said,
part of the scout oath is to God and your country. And I understand people have the right for freedom of speech. I just don't understand why it has to be during the Pledge of Allegiance.
oh, so what about during the national anthem? Oh, no. Okay, what about, say, on the front of a bus? No. Okay, what about in the streets? No, either. Okay, I think you're starting to see a trend here. It's never acceptable for someone to protest racial injustice. That's what basically people are trying to say. But while some anti-SJW, anti-snowflake, we ain't offended at anything, well, except Keurigs, Razor commercials, Nikes, and now 10-year-olds, conservatives have called for the scalding of this young lad. He's actually received a lot of support from celebrities and activists alike. The mayor applauded his action, stating they endorse and appreciate all expressions of conscience. His father also commented, saying that when he did it, he was really surprised and also really proud of his son. And those of us who understand free speech and the ability to empathize with others are also proud of this young ally. Maybe he can hold a class enlightening others who can't see past the stars and stripes forced in front of their eyes. For more on this, come over to my Instagram at Francis M. Maxwell. You can support independent media here at tyt.com/join. Did you like this video? Then great. Never miss another breakdown video by hitting the subscribe button below and ring the bell to get notified whenever we publish a new video.